Disabled people are the largest minority group in existence, making up 15% of the world's population, and one day that will include you.
Scared Potter.
And yet, most people have never heard of the term ableism, which means discrimination against disabled people. The way society is structured to favour enabled people and exclude disabled people is systemic ableism, but not many people know what that is or how to spot it. Disabled people themselves are sometimes unaware that they're experiencing prejudice or that they have an option to do something about it. I've been disabled since I was 10 years old, and I didn't know the word ableism until I was 17. I had no idea how to explain the injustice I was experiencing, and so I couldn't do anything about it. So please, watch this video and let's help the disabled children of the future. Society is inherently ableist. Examples include public transport. There are very rarely lifts in tube stations. There aren't disabled loos in every restaurant or accessible entrances. It also includes the environment, curbs being too high for wheelchair users, and even the attitudes that we hold within society, like schools and work not offering accommodations or remote environments. This is ableism. Until you've been in a wheelchair for a day, it's pretty hard to imagine just how inaccessible the world really is. And yet, accessible alternatives are available, as shown by the online meetings, lessons, and lectures held around the world virtually during the pandemic. Before this, virtual alternatives weren't an acceptable option, but now they have become helpful for enabled people. Suddenly, disabled people get the accommodations and access that we've been begging for decades.
That doesn't make sense.
Museums are offering video tours, cinemas are offering movies available to rent online, and classes, doctor's appointments, and meetings are suddenly able to be held virtually when they weren't before. When things revert back to the inaccessible norm, disabled people will be left behind. It's already happening. This is ableism. Disabled people make up around 22% of the UK population at around 14 million people, and that number is only growing. And yet, we are not represented, especially in the media. Disabled characters, if featured at all, are often played by enabled actors, and although this isn't always wrong, it's often detrimental to the way disabled people are treated in real life. More disabled models are being used, but they are yet to become mainstream. If your disability is invisible, like mine, it's even harder to market, so invisible illnesses are hardly ever portrayed, let alone talked about. Did you know that 1 in 5 people are disabled? And yet the charity Scope has done a survey that says nearly half the population say they don't know someone who is disabled. This matters. Feeling seen matters. Having a role model matters. Being deprived of this is ableism. There are a few common misconceptions around disability. One is that we're faking it for the money. What money? Another is that we exist to inspire or be pitied, and some people just think we're lazy and that if we tried hard enough, we could cure ourselves. Misunderstandings like this are part of the reason that disabled people are twice as likely to be unemployed. I would like to say that I think these attitudes are changing, but they won't. They can't. Not until these issues are addressed within schools, workplaces, and the media. We are taught about discrimination in the forms of sexism, racism, homophobia, but you can get to studying for a PhD without ever coming across the term ableism.
This is bad, very bad.
Attitudes won't change until we change the misconceptions around disability. And to do that, we need to talk about it. So, include disability in your conversations around activism, minority groups, and discrimination, and call out ableism when you see it. As we strive for gender equality, class equality, race equality, as we strive for more education on climate change and LGBTQIA+ identities, as we consider what version of society we want to live in, please don't forget disabled people. Whether they use the label disabled or not, whether they use a mobility aid or not, whether their condition is visible or invisible, all disabled people contribute to society. And more importantly, we deserve the same kindness and respect and equal opportunities as all other people. Because at the end of the day, that's who disabled people are. People. If you are a disabled person and you feel you might be experiencing discrimination, please check out my description box because I've put some links there that might be useful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and if this video helped you, please share it with a friend.